Okay. I activate the streaming on YouTube. We are trying this innovation for me, a logical, and oh, hi Arianna, hi Eduardo. This is more our
Good afternoon.
Our affectionate followers.
Just here.
Okay, we are giving the usual 3 minutes arriving time. So I give the social connection of the project, and for who still has not entered in in our community, we have a WhatsApp community. And there is a discussion group too in the community. So everybody is invited to enter the community to have the information and to start engaging with the other. Most of the engaging will be done from next year, next week. Sorry, I'm just already thinking in next year, next week. So, okay, so we can start. As usual, I recommend that this roundtable will be recorded. So please, if you don't want your face be engraved for the eternity. Please turn off your camera. And okay, I will start recording now. Okay, so welcome to everybody, to the listener, and principally to the speakers. Thank you very much for being here and to participate in this last roundtable of our project. As someone of you don't know, the project was planned to have only 5 key lessons. But we thought that will be really important to have all this specific round table on specific thematics. So we decided to invest in this time, and at the end we had 20 round table, 5 key lesson, and the other are the faster round table. This is the last one, so we'll last a bit more. We give more time to our speaker. And the thematics of today will be the thematic of the month of October is young engagement and social inclusivity. So young is thematic, but to the not younger, but older. No, inclusion is very important. And the focus of today is young employment and rural entrepreneurship. I will learn this word before end this this webinar. This is very important. Everybody is speaking about young. We have to involve the young people, but maybe sometimes, a lot of times, we don't know how to involve them. So this is the time to give. Just a short overview about the project. Now, HiCOMa is a European Erasmus Plus project co-funded from EU, and we connect experts from really from all Europe. We had experts from Georgia, from Northern Europe, so we have a lot of different experience, confrontation between different people and ideas. And we are trying to not only to connect in this webinar, but really to make a connection between experts to explore future possibility of projects, of ideas. So you can find all the experts on the website at the learning platform. You can find all the webinar recording. I remember that the basic idea is to train and give an Europass certification for Highland Community Manager, that in this phase of this part of the project, Highland Community Manager are people that's really interested in working in internal areas and mountain areas, and have to learn a bit more how it's important to know different point of view and have ideas. So we are trying to give a big toolbox of different ideas. And the announcement is that we open the asynchronous course. Until now, you should be all the Saturday morning, but we know that starting the September is not easy, so we decide to have a asynchronous way. So you can, after you receive the mail, you will have some instruction to follow, and you have to finish the course before the 10th of January. And okay, for us, we just go deeper in the thematic. For us, rural entrepreneurship is not just creating jobs, no, for like somebody that just putting funds there and create jobs. It's create and help people to take opportunities because it's not enough to create a job with funding. We need to understand which are the vocation of the areas and the people. So it's quite complex, connect the area and people. No, it's not easy. So we want to help the people. It's not only the young people, because sometimes two people that's not that young has really interesting ideas, no, and then maybe they need bit help to grow. So this is the context, no. To the main goal is helping young people to grow, to have all this the exit in their career, but keeping their roots in their area where they are born alive, and help the new ones to enter easily and put their new roots in the areas. We this today we have three really important experts. Marina Milanović from Serbia. She's she promotes rural innovation, youth entrepreneurship, and European collaboration through creative and community projects. She is an EU project consultant, Eurobridge, and Crea 360, and she is a president of Digital Decanters. She has a lot of interesting projects. After we have Javier Expósito, consultant. He is from Spain. It's and a consultant, entrepreneur, bridging business training and social impact. So he is the founder of Exportory and Alvacor, president of ASED NGO, and promotes innovation, learning to empower rural communities and young talent. And we have Simone Klinkon. He is a technology consultant. He lives into the mountain in the area, and he is an expert in 3D printers and a lot of technology. But he tried to make a really interesting things in this area. In his area, it's Sovramonte area, we can say just he is one of the promoter of the Fiera dell'Innovazione di Sovramonte, the Sovramonte Innovation Fair. So after he will speak more about his, the idea is he's bring together creativity, community, and he is deeply involved in the local policymaker groups. So we start with the first round. So you have time to please to integrate my short and brief presentation and start with your preferred example that you want to share today with our public and in the future, because this will be recorded. So please, I give the floor to Marina that he can complete my short and presentation and start to describe her work and where is her just Latin more.
Okay. Thank you, Fabio. Well, I don't have nothing to add. You mentioned everything which is important for this, let's say, round table. I will just stick to the fact that I am, let's say, the president of the Digital Decanters, which is one non-government organization from Serbia. And our base is in the southeast part of Serbia, which is really rural area. And the idea of Digital Decanters is actually to promote rural areas and the potentials that we have all around us. So this is why I would like to share today with you some examples that we did and that we are doing currently. So maybe those examples could be like motivation for other youth people that they can do something similar, or they can just improve our idea and do something better and something new. Like everywhere in the Europe, I think, you know, that the villages are empty. The people are just deciding to leave the rural areas and they're moving towards the cities. So our idea was to actually exchange the routes. So to ask people from cities to go to rural areas and to spend their time there. So what we did, because in in our surrounding, we have people who likes to play escape room. So we decided to move that idea to the villages. So how it functions? So we choose one of the most interesting villages from the old mountain. Old mountain is the mountain which is spreading through Bulgaria and southeastern part of Serbia. And there are plenty of villages, historical villages with a lot of interesting nature and so on. And the stories, which is really important for our escape games. So our idea was actually to play these kind of games, but in the rural areas. So this is how first we did a map. So we choose some interesting villages which has really good historical background that we can make a story and to make a game according to the facts that we know about that village, and also according to the potential that they can see, like waterfalls, rivers, and so on. So every game that we are organizing there is actually, like, let's say, the real game connected with the real stories and the real people who are still living there. The people who are with whom we are working are actually people. Most of them are from the IT companies, because the idea is to also motivate them to move from the office, to disconnect from the computers, and to, for example, one weekend spend in the nature, eating domestic food prepared by the local people, and so on. Also, the idea is actually, this is like, let's say, this is the team building actually for that company, because there's in the nature they're just focused on themselves together, and together they need to solve some problems. This is really nice idea, and people usually like it. And our goal was actually to not just to promote those villages and the old mountain, but also to let's say, to make that everybody who are in interaction wins something. For example, for the local people, that's really amazing experience, because most of the months they're lonely there in the villages, because there are no people. So when they meet new, especially young people who are coming to the villages, they're really happy, and they just can't stop talking with young people, because for them it's really amazing. On another side, young people, they're in totally new context for them, because they're in the nature talking with the local people in local language, because the dialect which are spoken in that part of Serbia is different than our official language. So it's also for them a really good experience. So also for us it's a good experience, because we organize all that. So let's say that everybody wins in this situation, and it is really, really interesting, especially if we're talking about youth and entrepreneurship, because this idea, it's something really practical, and it has, let's say, very good feedback. So I also, when we spoke with Fabio, I will mention now, maybe it will be really good if we can make it international, like to make an international map, and then we can connect, for example, I don't know, Spain, Italy, Serbia, other countries, to connect villages, and then to make like a global game, where each country should be one level. For example, if everybody pass all villages that are on the map, that's, we can say that they finished the game. So this is just like maybe for the future, that we can develop together, and so on. But it is really good idea and practical idea for even for the future entrepreneurship business ideas. So this is what we do with digital decanters, and in the future we would like to work more and more on that, especially discovering new interesting places. And another example that I would like to share with you, it's also connected with youth people who are living in another village in the eastern part of Serbia. we are doing actually the digital decanters. As I mentioned at the beginning, we're doing the promotion of different part of rural areas, and this village Rai, it's another example. Why it's a good example for youth and youth entrepreneurship? It's because all youth people who are now living there, in the last 10 years, they used to live abroad. So some of them, they used to live in Italy, in Germany, in France, and then just I don't know how, but somehow all of them returned back to that village at the same moment. They didn't know each other before. They just decided to come back, and they started their businesses with the wineries. So each of them has its own winery in that village, but when we are talking about the market, they're always showing off together, like youth from Riots. Riots is the name of that village. So just all together, the youth all together, they are always presenting, and they're doing the marketing as a youth group from that villages. They started like that. Now they're really everybody knows about them. I mean, in this part of Serbia and Balkan, but also they wanted to bring people to their villages, so they started to organize different musical events. So every year during the summer and the late August period, um, they're organizing some different concert, calling different and popular musicians to have a concert there. So all part of this of Balkan are actually going and visiting their villages, drinking their wine, they're doing the promotion and so on. So it is really I always use their example as an example that if you really want something, you can achieve it. So there is no like, even their youth, they didn't have nothing, they started from nothing, but now they have a really big network. So they're a really good example that youth people can do whatever they want. They just need to be, let's say, motivated and to follow their idea. I don't know, from my side, these are like two examples that I really like and that I'm involved into. So thank you for listening. If you want to ask me something, I don't know if you will ask me now or later. It's up to, I don't know, Fabio, what is the idea?
We will now we will go on, and
Okay.
after we will have all the time to go in deep with deep. But it's really interesting, Marina. Thank you very much, because you started with saying that all Europe has a problem of the young people going away from the villages. Different are the motivation, we know, but this is the common problem. So, and the other is there are a growing interest in discovering our backyard. So it's interesting. And the third idea is the retro innovations, a word that I like very much, because taking the treasury hunt that was a war, the old way, and we say, okay, now we go in in escape village, the just connect in different way. So I just give the floor to Javier, so this way he can start to describe us his work, finish my presentation, and just describe what his key study that he want to exchange with the other.
Great, Fabio. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's an honor to be here, and it's also challenging because I have spoken after Marina. Marina is one of the persons that I know who knows most about social innovation. I have the pleasure to work with her in a lot of projects, and she really knows a lot. So it's gonna be challenging, and I'm gonna do my best. I do very different kind of things related to this matter. As you stated, Fabio, I have two companies, one for international business and one for training. And in my free time, my spare time, I run an NGO with some friends called ASED, that we do projects for especially youth inclusion. I could speak from my perspective in the vocational and educational training. That's one of the business fields that I work in. And we could discuss about how to tackle the youth unemployment and how we do it. First of all, when we talk about rural areas, it's kind of a paradox that in the 21st century that we are fully connected. Everyone has one of these. We have social networks. We have a lot of channels to communicate, a multi-channel communication, but we are lonelier than ever. And when we talk about rural areas, those that we are living in, we could feel even more lonely. That's a very, very important thing to tackle. I can give you one idea of those that we have done. Most of the times, even though rural areas are small, we are in a province or in a county in 20, 30 kilometers around. In Europe, that's a very common position. So if we think about it in a map perspective, we could say that even though we are living in a small place, in half an hour driving around, or 1 hour bike, or free transport, but we have higher number of people around us that we don't know. What we have done, for example, one initiative that we run through ASED, we found one connector in every town, one person who knows the field. For example, we used people related to the municipality for doing this in the young section of people, so we can create some kind of mini networks in every one of those towns. Okay, now we have some kind of neural map with small points in every rural area. Any one of those rural area maybe has 5, 6, maybe 10 people. Normally, it's not more than that. 10 people who knows each other, but they don't know the guys from the town nearby. So we create the context to connect them to some kind of exchange. We are used to it because we are in the Erasmus Young programs, right? We do it in the countries all around Europe, but sometimes we don't do it with the town that is 5 kilometers from us. So we create this kind of change, this kind of exchange of ideas, and we try to do some entrepreneurial workshops with them, trying to inspire to define possible business in the rural areas. Why? Because we want to wake up in them the idea that they can work from their place to any other place in the world while they are living in the beautiful surrounded area that they are. It's easier sometimes to offer this idea, to set this idea in their minds through entrepreneurship rather than through teleworking, even though they can also telework for any other company in the world. But the idea of being an entrepreneur at home, sometimes it's easier to see than to work from a company in remote. once that they know, they realize how potential this idea is, and that they can actually work in their rural areas to any other place in the world, we help them to improve their skills and then to find a job. Sometimes we even look for physical places in these towns so they can have some kind of public co-working that they can go there every day and they connect with each other, because what they actually need is to be connected and to talk to each other. That kind of initiatives, we have done it in several areas, several places, and it's very powerful, because in rural areas, the more chirurgical you are with helping the young people living there, the more successful the project will be, the most impact you will create. We have to look very big frame, but when we tackle the solutions, we have to go one by one and work with any specific case, with any specific person.
Thank you, Javier Expósito. It's really interesting because now we passed from the escape villages and the people that's coming back from the town, the city, or the Europe to their own village, to mapping, to helping this point, no, in the map. And I pass the floor to Simone, because he is one of these central point of the network. He is to a city councilor. So again, it's an entrepreneur, it's a young, it's a technician, and it's involved in the policy making of his area. So it's something. I give the floor to him. He will explain everything. Bye, Simone.
Thank you, Fabio. Good evening, everyone. Sorry for a little bad English. I'm a young of the mountains, because I live in a small town here in Veneto called Sovramonte, that has about 500 of citizens. So it is really small. In my town, from some year ago, I started thinking about why a young like me that has a passion about technology must to go away to find technology. Why? Because the technology is something that, as Javier told before, we have always in our hands, like a smartphone. So why a young has to go away for to work, to study? Why not bringing back the technologies, the competencies, the ability learn away back in his original town? So some years ago, I started my job as a technology consultant here in Sovramonte, making robotics and 3D printing services for great industries like Luxottica, Essilor, Clivet, and so on, that here in Veneto are something really big. With the time passing, I founded an association called SMAS, that is a network of people like me, of all the ages. So there are young people and older people making technology in our labs, like Bill Gates in his garage. So this group in the time started making some project, for example, autonomous meteorological system for making weather forecast here in the mountains for the people, for people working in the agricultural sector, but also for the tourists to watch the quality of the air, or even there is some weather alert. And time passing, we started to think about tell the people outside the mountains that in the mountains there are some people making technology. So we make the first innovation fair, that is like a maker fair of Rome, of Trieste, of Hanover, event where all the people that have an idea, a project, but also something to stay here in the mountains to make life easier. We founded this event that promote collaboration, also to open the mind for not only for the young people on about thinking for his future projects or way of life, but also local institutions, citizens, to tell them that in the mountains it is possible to have the same amount of services that a city, a bigger city, have. This is what is about my project, and also not only my project, because we have a really big group of people around the shoulders. But about that, we collect makers and ideas, also cultural ideas about the digitalization of cultural heritage, for example, museum or archaeological studies. And we have people from all the Italy and also Switzerland and Austrian people that comes to Sovramonte to watch and see this project here in Sovramonte in the Innovation Fair.
Thank you very much, Simone, Simone Klinkon, because this is really interesting. No, the idea that technology will help the rural areas to live better there. No, we have a lot of technologies, and the problem is how to connect the people that living in the internal area with the technologies, because most of them are people, not really young people. And so I found this really exciting, this future. And the exciting is why we don't make a fair in a nice place out of the town. And going there, it's holidays too. Now we went to Sovramonte and to have a meeting with different organization, local organization, was a really nice time. So now we move to the second part of this discussion. Now we are trying to, there are different ideas. So now we can try to understand which are the main problems that young people have to interact with these ideas, how we can attract more the people in this, in practical, how we do it. So I put the round, I give to Marina the first.
Okay, thank you, Fabio. Well, I'm thinking now. I guess that the, let's say, new generations, not Alpha, Z, and the generation before, I forgot the name now, but doesn't matter. I think that somehow they're looking for what them as a generation are doing. Everybody is going to do that. So, and everybody are now into the digitalization, for example. That's in, and everybody is going to do that. Everybody would like to be programmers, I don't know, to sit home and do this kind of job. So maybe if we together, if we can try to find a different way to motivate them, that they're also another, let's say, in or I don't know what is the good word for that, like the cool things that they can do. Like for example, Simone, if we give them more different examples, I think in that way we can motivate them to change their perspectives and to try to do something which is also good and inspiring. It's not just, I don't know, sitting in front of the computer. This is what crossed my mind now.
Perfect, Marina. Thank you very much, because you enter into that problem now, how which are the barrier for the young to enter in this point of view with these ideas. So, Javier, what do you think of what Marina and Simone said?
It's kind of tricky because I fully agree with Marina. There is some kind of the motivation of from the new generations in activities far away from a screen. However, um, I'm gonna talk about an insight that I found. Me and my team have found it recently in I have seen it in Spain and Portugal. I hope. Well, I'm not sure if I hope, but that happens in other countries. But if it does, I hope my ideas will be profitable. There is some kind of movement in the youngsters' ideas that we have found some kind of tendency that maybe because they have passed a lockdown in the pandemic, they have become more and more individualistic, and that's a problem even worse because, as I said before, there is a tendency in loneliness. But if we isolate this problem of the individualistic idea of the young people, we have found an argumentation that uh, fits in their demands. I will try to explain myself. It's a difficult idea. Um, Let me see. In the individualistic mindset of these people, fits the idea that if your income level will be higher, you will be better. There is some, and how does this fit in this idea? We have found that when these young people realizes that with the same job in a rural area, they will live less expensive than in bigger places, they find interesting to move to these places. So there is some kind of movement of young people, technological native, if that word exists. I hope I'm explaining myself. That they prefer to live in a place as long as their saving power it's bigger than in a bigger place. So we are finding young people who wants to live in remote areas because of this. Now we have to give them a reason for staying, but at the moment there is some kind of argumentation rather than you will live in a paradisiac in a paradise environment with nature and so on. There is an economical reason, and I will not say I agree, but it's working.
Yes, perfect. Thank you very much, Javier. This is the next step. Now we are going to. I'm thinking when you were speaking, I was thinking the money, the wage, the higher level.
Uh-huh.
Why it's important because this way you think you have a better life quality. So at the end, if we found a way to give a better life quality with less money, so could be interesting way. No, it's an idea that, for example, Miguel Carneiro gave to us at the beginning of this course. Said, okay, I have a company. I am in the countryside. I cannot give the same level of the big company in the center of the town, but I can give something different. So this is it, but you go to see the recording. Simone, you are the materialization the of this point. So how do you engage the young people in your area?
In my opinion, here in the mountains, we have a different kind of mentality because here a lot of us thinks about the life is harder because you have a particularly kind of environment. Often this environment is clean, is not polluted, but in the same time you have a huge time by car to go to work. It's difficult to find industries that hires you to go to job in for being a young. I also had this problem at the start because I'm a young entrepreneur, so it's difficult also to find also people to work in your job. So as told by Javier before, if you give the some kind of bonuses, like for example, good environment to work, a good paragon in terms of money that you give to the people that work for you. But also there is another problem, that is to tell them that some kind of work can be done also in the mountains, because some kind of people in the past years here in Italy, when we had the economic boom, they thought that having industries near the cities was a really good point because you had a lot of people that go to work in. But nowadays the trend is the opposite, because the people is escaping from that kind of reality. They are preferring a different type of work, maybe more time at home than in the office, but also a different kind of environment around them, not only about the weather environment, so clean air, but also a social environment, because here in the mountains, in my specific case, there is a lot of collaboration ideas, because if my neighbor had a problem, I go to help him, and if I had a problem, my neighbor come to me to help me. So this kind of mentality is what young people like me is searching, because the also, if we go to see the world, what is happening in the world outside my small reality, young people is traveling more than my generation, my kind of age, maybe also 20 years ago. So we can see a lot of different realities. For example, me, when I was 18, I go to some maker fair around Europe, for example, Hanover. So I can see a lot of other mentalities about people like me, but from other countries. For example, Germany, but also France, UK, also Romania. So all these kind of example, they are bringing back to their original towns this kind of news. I can say that in a other word, that kind of new practices. These new practices are bringing back people to my towns, especially from my age. So, in my opinion, the method to create new opportunities is telling the young that there is this kind of opportunity, that it is possible to make some type of works, jobs, sorry, or the social environment is better than what we can see, at least here in Italy, in some bigger cities, but not that much bigger than Sovramonte.
Thank you very much, Simone. This is really interesting because I'm always in very high language of our anthropologist language. Now we call reciprocity, the relation into the community, as a non-monetary economy. And this is the tie of the community. It's based on reciprocity, but the problem is for the newcomers, that the new people that arrive in the communities, sometimes they are not used to this connection. They find sometimes not completely in their this way. They don't know how to. No, so it's quite complex, and this way they make a disconnection with the community. So this is really interesting. I was thinking in your, for example, your activities of exchange with the young that are interested, going into the schools, explaining about technologies, and your network of friends that are in different fields of technology that they connect, like put together pieces of the Lego. This is the idea. So now, it's a question. It's arriving. It's a question. So we give the floor and to the public question, and think between you which question you want to ask each other, and principally to Javier, who has to leave. The first question right from the public is, when do you speak about young people, which is the age we are speaking? We are speaking about university people, so people over 18 or around 80, or youngest. So this is have to be understood. We have to understand the different, the between 6 to 12, 14, the 14, 18, the 18 over. And anyway, your projects are really interesting. So this is something that the listener want to say. So this is a question for the three of you. Be fast. Javier first, and Marina second, and Simone third.
I would not say an age. I would say a moment of living. Because there are youngsters in all ages. I would say youngster to those people who still doesn't have an adult life with family obligations and those kind of things. That would be my boundary. When we think about young people oriented, we are talking about people who are still building their lives, even though they are 18, 20, 30, 40, 50, it doesn't matter.
Okay, somehow I agree with Javi. I don't know why, but I agree with him. But when we are talking about official things, when we are working, when we say youth, it's usually people from 18 to 30. And this is the population that we are working for. But me personally, if you ask me, I will go much further, like 45 or, or so on. So it depends, but 18 to 30.
In my opinion, it depends. It depends about the type of people that you have in front. If I had to go really short, I will think under 30s. Because especially in the young ages, like 6 to 15, they are thinking about something superior about instruction, for example, university. When people from 20 to 30 are thinking about their job or in the late years of his degree. So they are seeking for jobs, seeking for opportunities of life, like buy an house. So I will stay under 30s because it's the age of the big decisions that can change to go away or to stay in the area to be active for the environment.
That's the reason, because I'd like to put together people that come from different areas and have different point of view, because this is the enrichment that we have when we can have a intellectual biodiversity. So the idea of I'd like really the moment of life, the quality of the life. The point I said, Javier, please tell me again, because I forgot the word, but it's really interesting. And please, Simone and Marina, ask to everybody, ask to Javier before he leaves everything you want to know from him, because it's here. Please,
The moment
him.
of living. Of course,
Moment of living. Yes.
Marina is fully right. Officially, there is an age for that describes the young people. It's between 18 and 30. But unofficially, I'm pretty sure it depends on the moment of living of any individual.
Okay, if there are not, I have a lot of questions, so a lot of mathematics, so don't worry. But if somebody has to ask something to Javier, please go on, because okay, we can try to retain him until we finish. Who knows? But anyway, it's quite difficult not to connect. But I was going on thinking how we from the practical way, how we can connect the three ideas that we have here. I was wondering about because this idea that launched Marina was really interesting, to make a European escape village, and the point that keep in my mind are the map of the central, the connection point of Javier. And I am thinking on the huge idea of Simone about the fair, the connection, and the needs, because we are, for example, we have a lot of needs. For example, technology for elder people, because we have an aging population in the internal areas. So we need to help them to live better, to connect, and to in simple way, because technology is something that is not that complex. Now we know. So try to connect these ideas and let them grow. Marina and Javier and Simone.
Maybe Javi first if he has to leave.
Okay, you're right.
Okay, she dropped the bomb on me. Well, it's a very very interesting point, but um anyway, but there are like I think two keys in this. We test in one place, we export it into another. For example, from this meeting from today, from this workshop from today, I'm looking forward to meet Marina and check how did she do this in Serbia, because I am really positive that I can replicate it in Spain, because we have similar problems, and those similar problems have similar solutions. That is why it's so important to have exchange of ideas between areas are that are very similar, or so similar like ours. Um, this escape room, for example, meets perfectly with our project of map points in different places, because we could create, for example, I'm thinking now, a route of escape villages all around our province in the rural areas, so we could tackle another important thing, and is the inside tourism between the people who live in the same province. That it's also very important. We connect the people from different places. We with this idea, we could um, connect these people with the style of living of the place that they're going, because they will learn from this escape village, and on the other hand, they will know deeper, so they can come back, and there will be a flowing of people um, visiting the other towns, meeting their culture, and that will increase the tourism. We are always thinking about, we want tourists to come to the rural areas, and we are thinking about people from other places, but sometimes our neighbor doesn't know us, and that's very interesting. I take note of it. We're gonna do it.
Okay, I take the floor, because I think the idea is not just not the game, it's just to know the place, to know better the place, and the way to the education, so involve the external. So there are a question for Marina, so if you can explain a bit more
Yeah,
how these escape village are.
yeah, definitely it's more than a game. It's much more, especially if because we have this interaction, which is also intergenerational interaction. So when we're talking about social inclusion, for example, of older people, but also youth people, it's, I don't know, it's really good example how we can cover many different areas and many different topics. But now I'm thinking, okay, with the things that Javier is doing, we can find a common, let's say, language. We can agree very easy. What shall we do? But I think now maybe I think Simone should jump in, because we are not from this part of I don't know, robotic. I don't know so much. So maybe let's see if we are talking about youth inclusion, if we're talking about tourism, how robotic can help us to improve, let's say, this product that we already have. So maybe you can give us some hints, and then together we can maybe make a circle and see what we can do.
Well, it's a quite difficult question. No, talking seriously. For example, in my opinion, I'm thinking about not also the robotics inside the industries, for example, robotic arms about production lines, but also that kind of robotics that it's useful for the environment. For example, robotic movers. One of my first jobs was for example, GPS robotic mover that was sent in the mountains to keep the green, the grass low, also in places where human had a difficulty to go. For example, this can be a useful idea for keeping villages clean, also if you don't have the worker to do that. But I'm thinking about also not only robotics, for example, technology to hint, to help people to have the story of the village. For example, infographic screens, but with, they call that augmented reality. For example, you can see the village is evolution in the ages. For example, like a simulation that tell you the story of the village that you are in. So in a terms of tourist, you can also know the story, the heritage of that place. Here in my town, we were in the border of the Italy and the Austro-Hungarian Empire in the First World War. So here, for example, there are a lot of stories, a lot of buildings about also a lot of tradition, a culture about two different people. For example, my surname is from Slovenia. That was a soldier of the empire that plays home here in Sovramonte about 100 years ago. So there are a lot of methods that the technology can be useful. Also, telling the some kind of if you don't have people to speak some, for example, for hints for helping the people to be guided in this game, for example, like seek the treasure. Here in Italy is the Caccia al Tesoro. It's a really good game for children, because you are giving a prize if the children go to that place in the fast method possible. But also telling about then background of the story of the place it is. So there are a lot of ideas that can be developed about that using technology, not as a substitute, but as a trainer, as a help for the people that is doing this kind of game or activity, but also keeping the human in the first place as the priority of the action.
Thank you, Simone. Javier, I think it's time that you have to leave, so I give you the floor to say goodbye.
Yes. Thank you so much. Sorry, I have a previous appointment that I cannot skip. I'm late. Actually, they are waiting for me since 7 p.m. But I really wanted to be here with you guys in this so interesting project. I leave my contact details. Anything you need from my side, I am at your disposal. I'm gonna copy my details here. Yes.
Okay, but you
And
will
I
have,
hope that
you
we could
already have
understand the message.
your expert
Okay.
profile on the website. So
Okay,
don't
perfect.
worry,
So,
but you have here. So
thank you so much.
thank you again to share with us. Was really important because I know you're, and sorry for your delay, but anyway, see
Yeah,
you
thank you so
soon.
much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. So we are here and we go on because I think we can just go between us if you want, if you have time, logically. But I heard some comments from the community that's listening now, and say that it's really interesting, this idea about exchange the augmented reality and the knowledge of the areas, no? Because, for example, in Sovramonte, I saw in the museum of because Sovramonte is interesting. They have the first dental dentist of the history, because they found a prehistoric, what we say, for me it's a word that we have not to use, but a really ancient man that had a tooth cured. So they built an entire museum around, and the first things I was taking my heart was how the landscape has changed since glaciation era until now. So in the augmented reality, we can help a lot of people to see how the landscape, the areas was different. Even yesterday, it's 60 years ago, no? Because always tourists, they think that landscape is, well, always was like they see now. So this was an idea fantastic, said somebody, Sarah, really, not somebody, the integrated augmented reality and touristic aspect. So, for example, in Sardinia, there are a lot of examples where it will be really useful for understand that these these plants that seems to be just some strange grass that are without use today are really important plants and areas, just because you never go there and you don't know what's happening behind, and you think it's not useful, so you can just put a solar panel on top, or you can just put a park side without thinking of the way of the water, for example. So I'm just launching a lot of stones into the lake to see waves. And okay, you raise your hand. Who want to have something to say, you can go. No, yes, I have to launch the ball because. So, Marina. Eduardo.
Allora, I don't know to do because I'm trying to find the taste, the button here, but okay, I will do without. And I have one suggestion to Simone because he goes to Maker Fair and I love it because I goes there too when I was a student for informatic. And for being an entrepreneur, I want to give this tip, is almost as a tip. When you see one beautiful stuff like your printer, 3D printer in your shoulders or something like that, you have an idea how I can bring this activity in my town. I can bring this activity in my town, but with the typical of my town, just to make some events or some stuff, just to involve people to come, not just to moving, but the first step is okay. The first step is coming the people and see they around. Maybe they like, they come back. Not like to take an house and living there, but like a visitors, like a tourist, just implementing and try to do that. This is one idea I have it, and I hope is helpful for you. That is very short, like always to me. A very short.
Yeah, sorry, I can't open the mic. Yeah, this kind of idea, it was the starting point, the spark that lit the fire about starting an innovation fair, because the first idea was like, for example, what you tell me, how I can bring this idea in my town, but in my style, about my style, the style of my town, the style of the people of my town.
Yes.
So that was the first starting point. And the second point was about to bring some new ideas about the place I lived in something external about my town. Tell the people that Sovramonte exists, calling visitors. For example, Fabio has called the museum about the uomo di Varrosna, the Varrosna man, the first prehistoric
Hominid. Yes, hominid. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I understand it. No worries.
And this was the style that we are working with our association in this moment, bringing people not only for the innovation fair, for our projects, working for our projects, but also to visit Sovramonte and its kind of beauties.
Yeah.
I am a municipally conciliar, so I'm working with my administration about that objective from this perspective, the idea of seeing the world and bring back not only the better ideas, but also that kind of thinking in how I can improve my situation here. Taking the much more visitors possible, but not only visitors in a term of numbers, but also in a term of quality. Because over tourism here in the mountains, especially in what is Cortina d'Ampezzo, where
Yeah, I know it.
there will be the Olympics game, it's a huge problem because there is a lot of pollution created by this huge flow of people that isn't bringing back anything to the mountains. Also, a lot of problem, but not a really good improvement in quality of life. So our big focus, anzi, the main focus about our project is bringing back more visitors possible, but in a terms of quality. Yes. Sometimes it's better having only 100 visitors, but with a huge network creating behind that 100 people, that 1,000 visitors that create you only problems about wasting or parking lots and other stories.
Yeah. No, but the main idea was make a fair, maybe it's just in nature, technology and nature just mixing together and just do this event. And it's amazing because the landscape is nature, but you just bring this mega fair of technology, but linking with like your GPS, just cutting the grass, all the stuff. It's beautiful topic, and maybe just continue year by year. That is, I hope you can do it. Don't go forward. The dream is big, but don't worry. With the time, the dream is coming. For us, it's too in the university. Thank you for the link.
That's really it's how the idea it's growing and change. The idea of the Agri Robo Fair that should be in the 1920 should be organized in near Pisa. It was to move the Robo Fair, the robotics fair, into the Pisa, about the big medical robots, to move into in the area of Pontacerchio. It's a small village that has an agricultural fair. And there was a lot of different reasons because this was moving. But there wasn't a real interesting movement around the interest of what robotics can help in mountain areas, in agriculture. And so we start to collect in all Europe really interesting ideas, from the tree-to-tree hand that can help to move big trees and cut trees without being there with big machinery that from the communication, the fire. Unfortunately, we had the COVID and everything stopped, but it was really interesting. So now I pass the floor to Marina if he has some hint or idea or something to share.
Yes, I have. I'm thinking. I'm already thinking about the the next steps. Thank you, Simone, for giving your inputs, which are really useful for, let's say, new games and so on. Maybe the new projects also. But what crossed my mind, it's you mentioned that you're actually working as a youth counselor at your municipality.
Yes.
So first, I was thinking about motivation. So what is the thing that, or what is that motivate young people to come back to rural areas or just to move to rural areas? And I think that if we want to receive, let's say, the right answer on that question, altogether we should do some survey. So just to try to all together, to set up the target group, as I said, like 18 to 30 or 16 to 30, doesn't matter, and then to see if they really want to come back. So this is the the first thing. And another thing is maybe is the question for Simone. Does your local municipality, the local government, do you have some program which support youth people to stay in rural areas, like extra money, let's say, like every month the local government is giving you 500 euros to stay and to work at your home? Do you have this at your local level or not? So this is just, for example, if you're talking about how to keep young people in rural areas, maybe we should find also the ways. Maybe the local government can do something also in this way.
Yeah. I don't know if it is a kind of benefit that is used in a lot of other countries or local rural areas. In Sovramonte here, for example, to every young that start the second degree school here in Italy, the scuola media, from about 10 to 14 years. For example, we give to all the people that send his children's his sons to our school. For example, the local administration give to everyone child a notebook, a laptop for every year for every child. Indifferently about the residence. If you go to Sovramonte school, you receive a brand new laptop that at the end of the school, it is yours. You don't have to give back to the school every year. This is the sixth year we do that nowadays in order to keep more children about not also Sovramonte, but also our neighbor to give to Sovramonte this kind of bonus. For example, when we have a group, an association that make a kind of event that promote the social inclusion of the young, but also to something that about the children. For example, we have the local children summer group. It is a group of young like me that follow, help the children of people that is working in summer, so they don't go to school and they are home alone, and they help them with recreational activities, doing their homework, but is something sponsored by the local administration. So we don't give money to every family. For example, this is that is like Trentino do. because they are in Italy a special region with a different kind of administration. But in Veneto, this unfortunately is not possible. So we can think a lot of escamotage, some different kind of ways to help help families, help people here to stay here in some kind of terms, but without giving them money. For example, to all the small activities, for example, restaurant, pubs, but also small industries. For example, we have a woodworker here that make furnitures. They have a little discount on municipality tax. For example, the energy bill is refunded by the administration, for example. So there are some kind of ways that helps the people to not survive. It is a stronger term, but to have some benefits that encourage the people to stay here without going away. Also because the Sovramonte is in a strange geographical situation. It's on the border between Trentino and Veneto. So we have a constant wage of money from Trentino because there are some kind of partnership between the two regions, because a lot of services of Trentino are made by Venetian people. For example, the hospital of Fiera di Primiero, that is in Trentino, is the hospital of Feltre, that is in Veneto. So there are a lot of contracts between the two regions that helps the people in the border municipalities, like mine. So we have some kind of benefit. For example, children in the school, they don't pay the food where they have the lunch. But where other schools at 30 kilometers away from here, they have to pay 7 euros a day, for example. So there are a lot of these strange situation because Sovramonte is a strange municipality in Italy. We can call like that.
Okay, thank you. Can I just so then another question show up is like what is enough and when it is enough? For example, and again, if I'm going back to the survey that crossed my mind, I think that if we are doing the survey all around the Europe with our partners, with our networks, and then if we ask youth people, do you want to live in rural areas or would you like to move? Then the next question would be, what do you need to stay there? So do you need infrastructure? Do you need I don't know, good internet? Do you need? And then when we collect all this information, then we should be like a bridge with local but also national governments, and then to see what they can do to support youth because they have these needs. So I think everything is connected, but I don't know why. I think it has the solution. There is solution for young people to live good, especially now with these new jobs. Just there should be some good bridge to connect both sides. But for sure, the youth people, they need support, especially financial support to start, for example. I don't know. This is like maybe idea for something for some new projects. Who knows? But I think it's we can get real interesting results. Realistic.
Yes, I'm sure, because from the beginning of the project, we tried to understand which were the education, the knowledge needs, no, of the different areas of Spain, Italy, and Romania, and there are similarities and differences, and we have to work on these similarity and differences because each areas has its own needs, and there are some common needs, some special needs. And the example of Sovramonte is wonderful. We can stay all the night to tell how all the ideas that they organized there, no? From the automatic butchery, because the butcher were closed, but they have a pharmacy in the center. They have a bank, so it's small, but they could attract a lot of people. And but for example, the bar, the center of the village always is the cafe. It's led by the municipality, you know. So there are a connection of different, and there are a lot of interesting tools from. Well, I'm taking the word of Simone, but I spoke a lot with Federico, and I know. For example, they manage the trees on the common land of the village, and this is another income for the municipality. So there are these examples that we can take and exchange. And I have a question, but I forgot. So, but I think the idea of the survey is interesting. So we have to think about how to manage this, and how we can realize that the team from the escape villages can move around Europe, no, to help people to understand that Europe is something that really we have the same problem in a lot of places, and we have two different problems. But maybe when I was wonderful, because when we put all the mayors of Spain, Romania, and Italy sitting together, it was not easy because not everybody was speaking English, but it's interesting because they start to exchange. At the end, they found, yeah, they were different in the budget they manage, but there were a lot of common problems, so they will understand. So it was wonderful. Yes, I know I should just give the ball to somebody, but maybe I think that you are tired too. So we said 90 minutes. If you want to go on, I have no problem. But if not, I go to the closing. And if there are more questions, somebody will want to ask something, or we can go to close this session. That was really dense, a lot of interesting ideas. And remember that Highland Community Manager project, HiCOMa project, it's for making connections. No, network is not just to exchange knowledge and ideas. And okay, said Arianna. Said Arianna, open your mic and say it by yourself.
Eccomi.
Hi, Arianna.
Buonasera. Good evening. So the survey that Marina said right before to young people, what they need, what they're looking for. Just today, a few hours ago, I was forwarded by a friend of mine. We come from the same village. I was forwarded one of these surveys conducted, like, I think, Camera di Commercio or Confindustria, maybe. And they actually are conducting this survey for professionals. So why they left Le Marche, which is a central Italian region for non-Italian people on the Adriatic Sea towards Croatia. And they are asking why you left. Is it because of the lack of jobs, the lack of infrastructure? So I think that's a good example, and maybe I can link it here if you're interested. That's all.
Yes, really interesting, because sometimes the things are already happening, and that's wonderful, because sometimes some people think, okay, I had this great idea and somebody is doing before me, and I like when somebody has the same idea than me. So it means that it's a good idea, and so we can connect. It's difficult to connect with Camera and Commercial, but we can try to have the data. So Arianna, this is a student. She's associated with Centro Ricerche Antropologiche. So Arianna, please tell search to understand how we can have the data or connect with the survey and take it as example, because it's the base for the future project. Marina is the expert, our expert in projects, so and financing, and so we have a network, and here we have, for example, Mirko Del Carlo, that's following all our roundtable. He's a person that is working in a village, a small village, is called the Villa Basilica, where we helped a lot them to develop a way to connect with the people. And this is a key study of our project, because it started before the project, but was one of the how you can say the reason, one of the 100 reasons that we arrived to write Highland Community Manager project. So there are a lot. So we can. You already here we have Sovramonte, Tuscany, and Slovenia. Sorry, Serbia. Sorry, we make chaos between countries. It's like between Lucca and Pisa, saying things like this. But anyway, you forgive me. And okay, Marina, it's 8:30, so I think it's time to
Yes, it was my pleasure being here, sharing my time with you, also ideas. It was really nice, and I would like if we can meet again in the future, or maybe face to face in different projects. It would be really nice.
That is for sure. And so I start to close this session.
Yeah. Thank
you, really, really thank you to everybody that stayed here until now. That's quite late, quite unusual. Everybody should know that Saturday it's the last key lesson, but why not make other meeting? No, we will have two important events in this project: the career fair, where the networking partner and the companies, the municipalities will be two different. One for the municipality, the public organization, and one from the companies for the students of the course. So the enrolled students can participate to this career fair and understand which are the needs of municipalities, public entities, and companies. And we will have the final meeting in person in the end of January, maybe the 31. We are just planning in Pontremoli. It's in northern Tuscany, and where there is one of the principal key study of this project. It's the Start Working Pontremoli community. It's co-working, but they have a really interesting way to integrate people and new people with the community. Because if we don't have these activities to integrate the newcomers with the people on the area, we will have conflicts, people and two societies that will always keep frictions and problems. So there were a lot of things. It's difficult to connect everything. Well, but we start saying the rural entrepreneurship is not jobs. It's connection, creativity, networking, ideas, sharing values, sharing economies. This was one of the words that I heard most. We were moving from northern Italy, from Tuscany, from Serbia, from Spain. There are a lot of common elements. And another point, it's I like two words: the honest collaboration, inclusivity, and the win-win-win situation. Not only win-win, but the win-win-win situation. So where to the more than human world will win. It's possible. We have just to think about. It's not a problem that difficult. So I invite everybody to be in the last key lesson. Will be Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. And you have all the links in the chat. I will give again. So please copy and paste the link of the social and of the WhatsApp. Make big chaos, but it's not a problem. And the WhatsApp, just one. Why just one? I make too many things together. But anyway, follow on the social, enter in the WhatsApp community, and okay, thank you to everybody. And at this point, just I remember, it's open the not synchronous, so you can take your Europass certificate. It's very important because it will certificate the competences you achieved with this course, even if you don't follow the last key lesson, because now it's open to the asynchronous participation. So just you can listen the key lesson whenever you want. You have to fill a questionnaire before listen the key lesson, and fill a questionnaire after that. So it's if you have friends, people that you know that could be interested to have a Europass certification about Highland Community Manager, please share the information. We will launch the communication soon as possible, but now we are concentrating in closing this event. And tell them, go on the website, enroll, it's free, it's great. And thank you again to the speakers, because it was longer than usual. And thank you very much to the listener, because without people participating, we feel really difficult to speak. So thank you very much to everybody, and have a nice night.
Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.